Hello there, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amanda Jane, and this is probably my third attempt at my first video. The other videos I made in the past didn't exactly come out the way I wanted to, but now we're just rolling with it, and I'm just gonna keep posting, keep going, until eventually enough of y'all start seeing this. It's kind of kismic in a way that the subject that I really wanted to talk on today just so happened to be today, because something happened in my personal life that kind of fits in with the subject matter. See, my main goal here is to help young women with navigating through life. And a big thing that I want to touch on, talk about, and help with is letting them know that they don't need to worry about finding a man right off the bat, especially when they're just coming out of high school, they're starting their adult lives. You know, in my day growing up in the Disney Renaissance, finding your soulmate, your one true love, was like our big goal in life. And my entire life I was in love with the idea of being in love and finding that one person that just got me and just wanted to be with me forever. So I focused more on finding that person than I did on actually focusing on what I wanted to do with my own life, focusing on the things that actually made me happy and brought me joy. Because growing up, you know, in the 2000s and the 90s, we were conditioned to believe that single women were not valuable, that we had to have a man by our side in order to be considered valuable or anything like that. And, you know, I know nowadays a lot of younger women are focusing more on themselves and, you know, putting marriage on the back burner, and that's great, but it's still, you know, not as much progress has been made as I would have liked to have seen by now. And today, I found out that my 17-year-old stepdaughter, who just got married last month, her mother gave her permission to get married to this guy that she's been dating for not even a year. He just joined the Navy, you know, a few months back. I think he's like a year older than her. So, you know, thankfully she didn't get married off to some older guy. But still, you know, she's 3 months away from turning 18. She's already married. And then today we found out that now she's pregnant. And I am also currently pregnant. I'm actually 13 and a half weeks right now. She's, you know, in month number 1. And basically now my child is going to be an aunt or uncle by the time they are 3 months old. And my husband gets to be a new dad and a grandpa all at the same time. And yeah, it's a lot to swallow. And it breaks my heart to see her trying to grow up so quickly, because it reminds me of me at that age, you know, just trying to grow up and form my own life and prove to my parents that I didn't need them to live. And, you know, and I went down a very similar path. You know, I got pregnant right before I turned 19. I wasn't married to the father of my son yet, but you know, when my son was 4, we got married and then had another child a couple years later. But the fact of the matter is, you know, by the time my son was born and we brought him home from the hospital, that's when it struck me that I truly was not ready to be a mom. Now, not to say that I have any regrets for being a mom. I love my sons to death, and my older son especially has been through a lot of growing in my life. You know, we essentially kind of grew up together because I was technically still a child when he was born. You know, by the time my second son came along, I was 25, so, you know, I was a lot more ready by then and knew what to expect, and went into motherhood fully ready and prepared and just ready to go, and just over the moon happy about it. What with my older son, you know, I was definitely depressed after he was born. I never got diagnosed with postpartum depression, but pretty sure I had it. You know, and it's not that I resented my son or that I wanted to hurt him or anything like that. It's just, I really sat down and thought, like, why did I rush into this? Why did I feel the need to grow up so quickly? And I think a big part of it was that, you know, the year before I got pregnant, my father passed away. He passed away exactly 1 month after my 18th birthday. And, you know, at that time, my ex-husband and I had just started dating a few months prior to that. So because we were still in that honeymoon stage, you know, and then you top that with going through the grief of losing a parent, you know, my emotions were all over the place. Like, I was replacing the sadness that I felt for losing my dad with being solely codependent on this man that I honestly really didn't know all that well. And, you know, I ended up giving up a lot of goals and dreams for him that I should not have given up. And, you know, we moved in together very quickly, and there were a lot of red flags in the beginning of our relationship. And, you know, when I think back on it now, I had a lot of voices in the back of my head telling me that this wasn't right and that I needed to walk away. But I was so hell-bent on holding on to this relationship because I thought that if I gave up, I would be a failure. And, you know, when I was in high school, before I met him, you know, I went through kind of a promiscuous phase of my life because I had my first heartbreak at 16 and it destroyed me. You know, the guy that broke my heart was supposed to be the guy that I was going to lose my virginity to. And then I ended up losing my virginity to somebody that I rebounded with. And then after that, it was just rebound after rebound after rebound, guy after guy who I just did not care for. I used these guys to, you know, try and get over my grief. And it wasn't right, you know. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't enjoying myself. I was being safe. So there's that. I was being safe, you know. And I'm not even necessarily saying that the promiscuous part was the bad part. I mean, I was young. But, you know, at least it would have been better if I was doing it with guys that I actually liked, you know. And I was actually enjoying myself instead of just using them to fill this void of sadness. Because in the end, it didn't make me feel better. It just made me feel worse about myself. And then when I met my ex-husband, you know, he was the first guy that I'd been with who I actually really liked being around. Like, I actually liked him. I wasn't thinking about somebody else when I was with him. So in my naive 17-year-old mind, I'm like, he must be the one. He's got to be. I actually like being around him. He's very interesting. He makes me laugh. He seems very smart and mature. He was 6.5 years older than me. And to be honest, he never should have come after me. He had just turned 24. I wasn't even 18 yet. It wasn't right. I didn't realize it then, you know. I was 17. I thought I was special. Turns out he was just incapable of getting women his own age, because I didn't realize this until much later, but he wasn't right up here, you know? And unfortunately, I still have to deal with the man. I have 2 children with him, but it is what it is. And, you know, all that, I'll touch on that drama in another video. But my thing is, I just want all the young women out there to know that the last thing you need to be concerning yourself with and worrying about is finding the person you're in love with. What you need to focus on is falling in love with yourself. Find out what makes you happy. experiment. Go out and date. I'm not saying don't date, but like, don't be looking for your husband right off the bat. Just have fun. Enjoy having fun. Enjoy being with your friends. You know, discover new hobbies. Get out there and just go through all these things and have all these experiences. Find out what you like and what you don't like. Your late teens, early 20s, hell, even your mid to late 20s. I mean, you can keep this ride going as long as you want to. As long as you're happy, do what you want. Focus on your career, your education, build a business, anything. Find what brings you joy. And if you can find a way to make money off of that, then all the better. You know, build your worth, build your savings, buy your first home on your own. And then when the time is right, the right person will come along. But the thing is, if you don't love yourself first, you're not going to be able to truly love somebody else. And it took a long time for me to realize that. Now, just lost my train of thought. In closing, you know, don't rush to grow up, because as a 33-year-old woman who is on marriage number 2, growing up is not all that great. It's really not. It's stressful. It's hard. You know, I've pretty much been struggling financially my entire adult life. You know, my dad took care of me my entire childhood. He was in the military, made good money. It was weird. And then, you know, after he passed away, my mom and I were left with nothing. And I was on my own after that. And like I said, not fun. And then I jumped straight into motherhood right after that. And babies aren't cheap, you know? So don't jump into growing up. Be young as long as you want to. Enjoy your life. And when the time is right, when you are truly ready, you'll know. You will know. I promise. Until next time, peace and love.